Listen, welcome to Battle Wounds Podcast, and I'm your host, Amos St. John, and now...
your boy Tank.
Yes, Tank, as I mentioned before, is our new co-host. And listen, man, this is about to be an amazing new season. I'm telling you, if you tuned into our last season and you saw the podcast with me and him talking about just our journey and my journey to health and wealth and working from the inside out, I noticed something. I was like, man, you know what? I can't do this journey alone. Like, we've been doing this thing for like 5-6 years now. So I felt like, you know what? There's power in numbers. So I want to welcome you to the podcast, our new co-host, Tank.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. You know, it's been a long time coming. We've kind of planned this out a while back, and I just love the fact that it's coming to fruition. You know, I'm over here with my brother, really getting it in with some hot topics that we got coming for y'all.
Listen,
so
y'all.
I hope y'all are ready to rock and roll.
Listen. Make sure you subscribe right where you are. Make sure you subscribe, whether you're on YouTube. If you listen to us on any other podcast platforms, make sure you hit the follow button, like. Make sure you comment. Share this with somebody. Battle Wounds Podcast is back for season 6 with Amos and Tank. Man, it's going to be an amazing season. I'm telling you, yo. Listen, I just want to just come off the bat. Well, I took, a 2-month break. It's summertime.
Yeah. You know, the vibe got to get right. Yeah. Sometimes you need that moment to just kind of get your stuff together. And, you know, when life starts to life, you got to take a little bit of a breather so you can at least, you know, get your footing back up under you. You know what I'm saying? Solid ground, man.
Just taking a moment to just, like, think through, like, really reflect. Like, you know, in summertime is vacation mode. Everybody's kind of on chill mode. And I almost felt the pressure to come back a little early, but I was like, nah, I think I need a little bit more time. So it took about 2 months. And when I was like, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I was like, man, I think for me, one of the things that I struggle with is asking for help.
Yeah, and
is that a man?
That's definitely a man thing, man. I deal with the same kind of thing. Yeah. I know in my endeavors in life, a lot of times I've been a very, man, I'll get it done myself. Don't worry about it. Yeah. I'm not even gonna worry about trying to bother nobody. But I also know that it takes time to learn that we're not here by ourselves.
Oh, man.
You know, we have people who will support us, and, you know, brotherhood between, you know, your fellas. You got family. People will always be there to help you, but you just have to ask, because they'll never know if you don't say
Open
anything.
your mouth.
Yeah, communication is key.
So that's that communication, and we're going to probably say that on and off about how important communication. And so for those who may not know who Tank is, Tank, if you haven't tuned in before, he's like my brother, but you know, it started off him being my personal trainer. For those who've seen my journey, I think season 2 or season 3, I decided to do a weight loss surgery, and that wasn't it. It needed more. I needed to work out. I needed to eat right. I needed to live right as far as my health. And so Tank was a major contributor to that journey of me losing 150, 160 pounds.
Yeah, man.
And he's a personal trainer. I'll let him explain who he is and where he's from. Yeah. But he's been like, he started as like my personal trainer. Now he's like my brother. We've been doing a lot of life together. We've been encouraging. Like, it's something about iron therapy, man. Like, we get a chance to talk about a lot of life together. And so he is an extremely resourceful person, not just in the health side, but on the life side. So y'all gonna get a chance to get to learn of what I've been experiencing for the last few years of my life. But Tank, tell them who you are, man. What you about, man?
So my name is Sirles. Folks call me Tank. I've been in the industry for going on 15 years, got a degree from North Texas, exercise physiology, kinesiology. You know, I've been around fitness my whole entire life. I've been an athlete, did track, did bodybuilding, did semi-pro football afterwards. It was just one big journey, and I had to really figure out how I was gonna impact the world, because that was my biggest dream. It didn't matter if I made it making millions of dollars, if I was just able to help 1 or 2 people. That was always my drive. So I really just started out with my family and, you know, getting my mom and my dad in shape and trying to grow from there. And then when people in college knew me. They were like, hey man, I need a trainer. So they went ahead and called me up, and I did that on the side of being an athlete. So all that saying, it came around to, this was what I've always done my whole entire life, and it just became a natural thing.
Yeah.
And in the same way that I'm able to change somebody's life through fitness, I feel it also kind of grew me into being able to try to focus in on what God's purpose for me was.
Man.
And how I was able to kind of have my own ministry in that same sense. Because I'm big on men's mental health.
Yeah.
I'm big on spiritual health. And you don't have to be just a Bible thumper for everybody, but at the same time, you also got to understand that God does play a big role in whatever I do.
Wow.
And I feel a lot of times that I've been in and out of just kind of struggling doing things, because I'm human. I go through things, and I need that spark of just something to keep me pushing. And I feel like God has always given me some type of word or some type of interaction with somebody that helped me through. Man. So that became who I really was. Yeah. And who I am now, and also evolving into. Yeah.
I love that about Tank. Like, he's been my personal trainer, but I've seen him train other people, and I've seen him. He has this ability. I'm a very introvert. Like, right. I don't like talking to people sometimes, but Tank is the opposite. Like, he's very extrovert, by nature, and so I've seen him like make total strangers feel welcomed. Like, I've seen his ability to make somebody feel that already coming to the gym could be awkward for people. Yeah.
I see that a lot. People feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. So he has this ability to like make them feel like, yo, get the jitters out. Like, you good. Like, there ain't no judgment here. And the ability to make him feel welcomed and feel like connected is a gift. Like, and sometimes I'll sit and watch like, wow, this dude just literally made this person feel like $1 million.
Well, the biggest thing, like, for me is I try to live my name, my real name, Aaron. Yeah. My grandmother gave me that name. Wow. So Aaron was Moses' brother. He was an orator. He helped speak.
Yeah, because Moses couldn't talk. He was stuttering. He had a stutter.
Yeah, that's a little history. I mean, a little biblical fact for y'all, if y'all didn't know. And my grandmother always told me, wow, God rest her soul, love her to death. She always told me to be that person, to be that beacon when some people can't be that. That's good. Now, the craziest thing is I seem very extroverted, but I have a lot of introverted tendencies. Okay. So it's easy for me to pick up on people who have that same type of just feeling in that, and I can see when they're timid. Yeah. So I'm going to walk over there, even if I feel uncomfortable. And that's the craziest thing, is that even if I don't feel comfortable talking to somebody, I'll say something. I'll watch them. I watch body language. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I'll say something, try to get them to laugh, get them to loosen up, because just as uncomfortable as I can be, I know they can be that much uncomfortable. So I'm going to make this comfortable. And laughter is one of the greatest ways to make somebody comfortable.
Listen, man, I tell you, that it breaks down the walls. It definitely opens up and allow people to feel welcomed. And so I appreciate that about your gift. And so I think in our journey to purpose and figuring out what more can I contribute to this world, I feel like a platform like this helps us connect. Like I said, you do this on a regular, at the gym, how you brighten somebody's day by speaking life. I feel like this podcast is another venue or vehicle to help you speak life to a person who's listening or watching. And so I'm glad that you're a part of this, because like I said, it's your natural ability to kind of pull somebody out of a hole and bring, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I think I'm glad to see that you have the ability. You're gonna be a part of this journey, man, of battle wounds, man. So.
I love the fact that this is another vehicle for me to spread the word about trying to be more focused on people's mental health. Dude, that is the biggest thing that I've seen running rampant through this whole entire world, is people's lack of mental well-being. Man, and now it's kind of the same way. Like we get in this grind of trying to work. Like I literally just came back from work. Yeah. But at the same time, I enjoy what I do. I may be tired, but at the same time, I would rather do this than be a stockbroker.
That makes sense.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
And they can make more money, but I can't say that they'd always be more fulfilled.
Because there's a lot of rich people and wealthy people who are like broken and lonely and unfulfilled. So it's like, why waste your time like doing stuff that's not fulfilling you? Like you're just living an empty life, you know. And then we, especially in social media, like sometimes people do stuff just for the likes or just for the appearance of success or fulfillment, and then behind closed doors, they're empty, man. They're
well,
broken.
like that's some of the craziest thing is that, you know, I do have, you know, different clientele at different levels, and I've met a lot of them on that platform of who they really are. It's that personal training. So when people don't get that, it's like, I got to get to know you.
Yeah.
And I got to get to know what makes you tick and what actually irritates you or makes you sad or make you happy in that same sense, because what that does is it allows me to build you up where you're weak at.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm a product of that. Yeah, I agree.
And there's a lot of guys who have that money, and I can still hear in their voice the unhappiness. And I've achieved so much and I'm here, but I'm just not happy.
Man.
And that's the craziest thing, is because we were raised right now in this era where it's like, I got more money, and I have so many avenues to make so much money. But then you hear people who are making them millions and getting that fame and stuff like that, and they're still broken. Just unhappy
and
broken,
man,
and depressed.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Listen, life be life, and I'm telling you, like, if you don't get to the root, you know what I'm saying, of what it is, like, you're gonna be wasting a lot of time chasing, different feats and different benchmarks in life, and never feel fulfilled. And so it's good that we find our lane where we are shine bright in.
Right.
You know, and so that's the reason why it keeps me pushing doing this podcast, is because I feel like somebody's listening or watching at whatever junction of their life, they're gonna connect to something we say or do, or share, and realize like, yo, like I can do it. Like I could encounter a lot of issues or problems, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I don't allow those problems to defeat me or break me. I can overcome life when life be life and turn it around and be an overcomer, and then help the next person out. You know, like that's kind of like the whole purpose behind Battle Wounds, is like, yo, yeah, a lot of us, we go through the mental health challenge of depression, anxiety, and all that, but we don't like let it cripple us to the point that we don't become productive. Like we find ways, again, through health, you know what I'm saying, mental health, and good resources to turn it around and channel it to do more healthier things. And so I know with me and all I've encountered in the last few years, like mental health is so important for me. Like, sitting with my therapist and like digging into what is the root of some of my triggers, you know what I'm saying? Like what leads to like the overthinking and the you know what I'm saying, like all the stuff, all the things that we deal with. And I think when we sit in the gym, it's also another platform where we just kind of hash out our thoughts, and you just, you know what I'm saying, it's like we build kind of like a community and village. So it's like having the therapist and having a community and having someone that you can like hash out your thoughts with, man. And it's so important when you're dealing with, as a man, like the challenges, the mental health challenges and the physical challenges, the world challenges, is to build yourself a circle, a community of people that you can turn to, you know what I'm saying? And I applaud you for being that for a lot of people. Like sometimes when, I'm coming to, walking the gym floor, like I can see you kind of pulling someone in, like, yo, I got to speak, like, or you texting someone and going back and forth, man. But that's important.
Yeah, it's iron sharpen iron.
Yeah,
it's the basics. Because if I'm by myself and I have no knowledge of something, and I'm walking around technically in ignorance, and nobody says anything, they're doing me no justice.
Wasting.
In the same way, if I have a whole bunch of information and I can't impart it on somebody, my knowledge and turn it to wisdom, I'm doing somebody no service and no justice.
Like, what sense does it make to go through and learn through all that we've learned and not turn around like and help someone? And I think that's I love that we have this platform to apply or share all the knowledge and experiences we've had, or bring people who have these experiences and then share and help someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the thing is, that's what I love about this, is that we'll bring people on here who you may not know of, but may be in a certain position in life that you are or want to be in. And hearing their story may give you just that push to get where you want to go.
That's it.
And that's the hardest thing sometimes to do, is that when you're so laser focused and you don't have that one little nudge to get you to go the right way, you're pretty much walking blind. You are walking as a beacon, but you can't even see where you're going.
That's crazy, man. You need that, man. And so I'm glad that we were creating this resource through this podcast to help other people, man. But I want to change pages. I want to switch pages, man. So, all right, y'all know my journey. I'm recently divorced, almost 2 years now, and he's kind of been in walking with me through this journey, man. And so I have a circle of accountability, and again, Tank is one of my people in my circle of accountability. And I won't say he's solely responsible, but he's kind of the main character to get me into this online dating world, man.
Ah, man, I knew he was gonna say it too. It's all right though. It's all right though.
He is like, he encouraged me like, man, you need to sign up more, get on here, get on these online dating apps. I'm like, man, I don't. But he's like, yo, he definitely was one of the main people that encouraged me to get on.
Hey, guilty as charged. Guilty as charged.
And it's not a bad thing, but it's like, I was kind of like old school before marriage. The online dating wasn't a thing. That was 20-something years ago. And so when I'm re-entering to the single life, I'm like, what? Like, can't go to the mall.
Man, the game has changed, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, after COVID, a lot of people weren't going out doing all this stuff, and then finally, when it opened up, people started going out. But yet, still, people had that bit of just, I kind of want to stay to myself. I don't want to move around. So that gave a different type of vehicle for you to be able to navigate, just seeing what's out there, what you really want. And that's the kind of situation that I was trying to impart on you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I agree. I appreciated that. Like it was an interesting journey. I'm not on currently I'm not on online dating. I am on break. I had to take a break because it's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, because it's like being at a buffet. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you sitting over there like, ooh, that look good. Ooh, that look good. Ooh, that look good. And it's just like, what do I choose? You know what I'm saying? Where do I start?
I think somebody posted on their social media the other day, and I agreed with it. It's like, I'm kind of this person. I don't necessarily agree with his whole post, but his post is like, I'm ready for a relationship because I'm tired of telling 7 to 8 people the same thing how my day goes.
Exactly. What's your favorite color?
You know what I'm saying? And so I think for me, I got tired of having to say the same thing over and over and over. And so it's like, man, I am ready. You know what I'm saying? So I got off on social media because it was like, man, I was tired of having the same conversation over and over again. But the highlights of online dating, which is the topic of this particular podcast, is are you ready for love? Like, that's the question. Are you ready for love? If you're single out there and you're looking for some, companionship or somebody to help, the question is, have you asked yourself, are you ready for love? And
you really gonna go that deep and really tell them like that, man?
I don't know. We'll see.
I'm just saying. A lot of people gonna be like, "Oh, I'm ready. and you're not ready.
At that point, and I think this conversation, I hope provide a litmus test. But I want to lighten it up before we get deep into the love, ready for love part. So he helped me get into the online dating, and so a lot of our sessions or training sessions, we're talking about our experiences. In one particular session, no. A few months before I had this experience. You had the experience that you were approached by a dating show that was coming to Dallas.
Yeah.
And you was considering checking it out. Well, a few weeks later, I was approached by the same show, a different casting director. And so both of us were almost on a dating show.
That would have been funny because the thing is, I bet you $5 they would have tried to figure out why. It's like, why do these two people know each other? When Dallas is kind of like, you know, I'm not gonna say Dallas is like Houston because it is, but it ain't.
It ain't. No.
Houston is way bigger.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like my second type of gig that I do is I'm a bodyguard and I do security. Yeah. So I meet a lot of people out and I know a lot of different people.
Yeah.
So it's just funny how when they hit me up and then they hit you up, I was just like, they don't know that we know each other.
Like the serious, like,
and what's gonna happen is we gonna get on set and they're gonna be just like,
yo,
hold on, hold on, 1 + 1 is 2. I know you. Hold on.
That part.
And the thing is, you know, it would have been cool. I thought it would be hilarious, but at the same time, there's different reasons why we didn't show up on there.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Things like that.
I don't like when I saw the show come out and I was watching it, and I was actually thankful that we weren't on it because I hate to say it was trash, man. That thing ended up being. There was some cool people on there, but it just the energy was kind of off, man. It was weird.
Man, for me, it was like when it came down to it, I wasn't ready for love, and that's what it was, and I thought that I was,
but I was.
And I thought I was ready to start something new because I had gotten out of something, you know, a long-term relationship that has gone through things and stuff like that, and the growth I had gained from it. I didn't think I was ready.
Well, my therapist was like, Amos, I think if you have gone, because I was talking to him about it, and then he's like, I don't know. He's like, if you've gone on that show, you was doing a lot of inner work at the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he felt like me being put out there would have undone a lot of that work. You know what I'm saying? Like it would.
I feel that.
Yeah,
I definitely feel that.
So it's like, you know, you go in there thinking like, okay, I'm ready for love. I'm ready to find somebody, and then you realize, man, like what them lights, camera, and action thing is different than. Yeah. You know? And so, but it stemmed from us just going online, and you know, we were approached at different times, and we almost were on this dating show, man. And it definitely questioned, like, am I ready for love? Like, you know, and now, you know, it's been a long time, but like, imagine if we were on this dating show, man. Like, what would a life would have been if we were now? Like, would things have been different for you as a personal trainer and all that stuff? And
like, I look at it like, you know, it would have been good exposure, but at the same time, I like to be authentic and I like to be my real self. And the funniest thing is that
those things.
When I learned about, you know, what the show was gonna do, and I had a talk with the casting director, and he really liked my story about how my relationship was with you know, my ex.
Yeah,
it was more of the more I talked him through it, the more he was intrigued, but the more it exposed to me that there was still things that I had to heal from.
Oh, wow.
And I had to be emotionally intelligent enough and honest enough with myself to not take that step just because of the publicity or just because of the possible money.
Because it could open up some wounds that you were not ready to address. Like, and it, for me too, is like, I didn't get as far as you did down the process, thankfully so. Honestly, I feel like I was boring. Like, I'm a good dude. I don't got a lot of drama. I don't got baby mama drama. Like, I don't got, my story is boring, which is good. You know, I don't have, like, I'm very active in my daughter's life. Like, there's no drama with that. And so I didn't think the casting, I think my story, I mean, they loved my story. They felt like, man, the women will love you here. You know, the women, we can't, but I think when I got deeper in the process, I think my story wasn't dirty. I wasn't dirty enough. They couldn't dig much dirt to make me interesting. Like, I'm safe. I'm a good guy. What you see is what you get. You know, I know how to dress. I'm cool, this and that. But there ain't nothing else. Like, in those shows, they need some spice.
Yeah, and I think they went, in my direction because of what I do.
Yeah, because I mean,
you know what I mean.
I ain't gonna take my shirt off. So.
Hey, and the same thing is like for me is. It comes with a stigma.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, because they love security.
Yeah, they love that. I mean, I'm a musician, I'm an artist, and they do that. But like I said, you ain't gonna see me with in the field that I'm in. Like you ain't gonna see me with my shirt off or doing too much wild stuff because it's like I'm in the church. Like I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So, but for you, man, it was go time, man.
Man, it was, and I just kind of wasn't ready for that situation. In that situation, and it's. I'm glad I was honest with myself.
Yeah.
And I'm it's a great show.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity for everybody who took advantage of that situation.
Mm-hmm.
It just for me, I'm very low key.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if I can't come out with the authenticity that I want,
mm-hmm.
I don't want it, and it's no disrespect. It's just honesty.
I mentioned earlier, I said it was trash. What I mean by trash, meaning that like it was just a lot of craziness. Like, and then you can kind of see it wasn't real. Like you felt like some of the connections were forced, and a lot of people were just there for publicity. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I felt like it was trash. Like the people that ended up making it, some of them, and you can see that a lot of stuff they kind of like self-destructed. Like it just a lot of people just didn't last because it was off of false pretenses, man. And I just was like, every week when I watched the episode, I was like, man, this is crazy.
It's a bit of TV magic.
Yeah,
man. That's what it is.
But I was afraid also, and I think you became aware. I was like, yo, at any moment they can take your character and turn it from antagonist to protagonist. Like you could become a bad guy at any given moment in 2 seconds, and you can't undo that.
No, and the thing is, like a lot of people don't understand is that once you sign that contract, you have to do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Because your name and likeness is theirs.
Yeah.
At that moment until that you're done, and even then you have to play that person.
Yep.
To the very end. You look at it like this: power.
Yeah.
So people hate Tariq, and it's like he plays that. That is not him. But people over here like, man, Tariq, I beat you, and I'm like, dude,
he's just a character.
He is acting. What are you doing? But you over here got a whole beef with a fictional character.
But that's what happens, and that's the reason why I was glad that it didn't work out for me, because I was like, yo, imagine if they spin. I have I'm not perfect, but I have a pretty good reputation, and I was like, one situation could totally flip it. All it takes, and I'll be like, yo, I'm no longer Amos the good guy, and saying it takes so much work to undo.
Yeah.
And then it's like, nah. So I'm thankful that it didn't work out that way, but I brought that up because we're talking about are you ready for love? And for me, I think I mentioned earlier last season I was in a relationship. I'm no longer in a relationship, and it's all good. Like there's no bad blood, but it put me in a position to really examine within myself, like, okay, am I going to be a single for long, or am I, like, am I ready for this? Like, am I gonna try to be for the streets, or if I'm gonna just chill? Like, and so I've been in this space. Trying to figure out, like, what am I built for? Like, I'm a stable guy. Like I'll be honest, I'm divorced. You've never been married, and but you've been in a long-term relationship.
Yeah, 7 years.
7 years, and so we appreciate stability.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And so I appreciate stability. I could be honest that I didn't necessarily want to not be married, but I also believe in, like, I didn't want to go to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I didn't want to lose. Like I didn't want to snap because somebody pushed me over the edge. You know what I'm saying? And so I mental health we talked about.
Mental health is key.
So the key. And so I felt like it was time to walk away from a situation, and because it was unhealthy. It was lethal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so, but
I get that
to my core, I still want to be in that stable situation, but I had to learn some lessons about myself in certain codependencies that I did not realize I still was plagued with. Because it's like, I don't want to get too deep, but like, losing my mom at a young age deals with a little bit of abandonment issues. And so I noticed, like, when I choose a girlfriend or choose somebody, it was based out of that deficiency, that codependency.
Yep.
And so in order to be ready for love, I kind of have to address that, like that root of, I don't want to pick a mate, a girl based on my abandonment issue. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I get that. And
you know,
we all go through our things and stuff like that, especially like death.
Mm-hmm.
You know my story. I lost a lot of people right before COVID, and it creates trauma bonds with people, and and you connect those problems and those emotions and everything to that person because either that person helped you through it or was there with you.
True.
And it doesn't mean that you don't love that person, and it doesn't mean that person doesn't play a big role in your life at that moment. But at the same time, you got to understand how to uproot your issues and not blame that person for those issues or connect that person with those issues so that you can have more of a pure relationship with that person. And I think a lot of us, especially men, I'm going to call us out. We have that tendency to do that because as a young boy, we're not allowed to do that. What we're really focused on is we're the perfect little soldiers. And we don't get a chance to really have any type of emotion at all other than anger, and I'm okay.
That's it.
And it's hard to break that mold and to literally just step out of there because you don't want to be seen as weak.
That part.
Or you don't want the fact that you are emotional, what they call sassy now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that right there, that's a inflammatory word that honestly doesn't need to even be put in that same context. Everybody's got emotions.
True.
You know what I mean? And when you're in a relationship, a deep relationship, sometimes you lose yourself.
Listen, I noticed, and a lot of my friends was like, yo, you know, and I don't regret it. Like, I don't fault my ex-wife for, I'll say, losing myself. I chose to go all in and abandon a lot of myself based on, I think, the wanting of security, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I'm saying? I was so all in, I lost myself. Like, sometimes people like they blame their ex, or you know, I gave up my dream for them. Nah, I can't fault them. It's me. I gave up because I wanted to be all in and be the family man, be the perfect husband, be the perfect father, and like lose myself in that. And I can see so many men lose themselves in relationships or marriages, and they're only a shell of themselves because you know what I'm saying. And it's like, yo, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to still be able to fulfill my call, my purpose in life, and still be with someone. You know what I'm saying?
It's a sacrifice that good men make. And it's because, again, we were always raised happy wife, happy life.
I want to debunk that. It's happy spouse, happy house. No, like, our culture, our society makes it so one-sided. That's why, like, my heart goes out to a lot of married men, because I was one of those unhappy married men. Quietly, silently unhappy. Like I looked the part, but inside I was dying because I was under that pretense, happy wife, happy life, and I'm miserable. And that's why we see such I hate to say, like, there's like so much discovery of secret lives for certain men. Like they hid behind their vices and their issues because they wanted to keep the appearance of being, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I don't ever want to be trapped in that. Like, I was that dude in a relationship, in a marriage, suffering in silence.
One thing is that you also got to look at it like this too. I'm a big proponent on taking accountability for yourself.
That's it.
Because there's a lot of times where we get so ingrained in the monotony of life. Go to work, go home, take care of everything, go to sleep.
That's it.
Go to work, go home, and it just becomes a vicious cycle. So what you're supposed to have in that situation is a partner. And that's the main thing, is that I think people get infatuated with the premise of being married or being in a relationship, but not willing to do the work. And that's on both sides.
Both sides, bro.
I don't place it on women, and I don't place it on men solely. Everybody has to have their part in that dance.
That's so true. And so I think for me, I had a false pretense thinking like if I pour into my significant other or spouse, they're going to like, so if I make my spouse happy,
right,
they're going to make me happy.
Right.
That's not the case. Happiness is an inside job. Like
it is.
You have, and so I built so much resentment because I poured so much into the other person, expecting so much in return, and never really got it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it built so much resentment. It just created such a unhappiness. You know what I'm saying? And so I noticed that I was like, yo, I no longer want to be in a relationship just to be happy or to feel. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to make sure that I am happy. I am happy within myself. Like happiness is an inside job. Like I don't need a job or have a lot of money or have all the success to feel happy. I want to be happy just off of just off of me. You know what I'm saying? Off of my life, off of the choices I make, the environment that I create, and then with whoever I decide to partner with.
So I got a real question for you then.
Okay.
What makes you happy outside of that? And that's the main question that a lot of people can't answer. And that, again, this is not just solely for men, it ain't solely for women. A lot of people cannot answer that question. What makes you happy outside of your job? And your job being, are you a father? Are you a mother? And or like your normal job.
Yeah, I think for me, like, there's joy in being Gracie's dad. Like, I have a joy in that. But what I had to really dig deep in is notice, like, okay, Gracie's not going to be this little princess forever. She's going to get up and grow old and move on her own, and you're going to... So who is that person?
Exactly. When
that's gone? And that's what I started working on now. Like, who am I when I'm not in father mode? Or who am I when I'm not in dating mode? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I had literally... had to ask that question, and that's when I started noticing, you got a lot of codependencies that you got to deal with. You got to you associate a lot with being attached to someone or something, and that's going to lead this vicious cycle of heartbreak, resentment, all this stuff, man. And I said, if you are ready for love, before you get into that whole world of love, you're going to have to address that because it's going to repeat that cycle of disappointment.
Well, let's be honest. A lot of people are afraid to be alone. True. And that's just the truth.
That's good.
Isolation is real.
Yeah.
So the worst place to be is in your head. That's why solitary confinement is thought to be one of the worst punishments you can ever have.
True.
And that's the main thing, is that when you're trapped in your head, and you can't get out of it, you're not ready for love at that moment. But what you're looking for is somebody to grapevine to, so you can sit there and you don't have to be alone in it. Now, where the real healing comes along is being alone for a little bit and understanding who you are when you're alone.
Facts.
And it's no problem with that. It doesn't mean you have to completely isolate yourself from everybody.
Facts.
But at the same time, when you're not involved with somebody, you need to figure out who you are. And it's okay if you do not know right now.
That's completely okay. I think for me, the biggest breakthrough for me was awareness.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to fix it. I'm just glad that I'm aware that I have issues with codependencies, and I have some attachment issues that I need to work through before I'm ready for love. Like, it's hard for me to just break stuff when I need, you know what I'm saying? Because I think it stems from again, losing my mom, and there's a lot of fellas that deal with that. Like, it's hard for us to just let go when it's just a dead situation. And so I say all that is just like, awareness is so key. Like, once I became more aware that these things existed and they affected my decisions, I started experiencing freedom.
You also had to look at, you actually decided to get help.
Facts.
And that's one thing, fellas, I'm going to turn it to us for a second. We don't do. At the very beginning of this podcast today, we literally talked about having a brotherhood and having somebody to lean upon.
Yeah.
A lot of times, because we're supposed to be the perfect soldier, we're raised to be that way, we think in singular instead of thinking of an abundance of people to help. What good does it do for you to invest in something that will not yield anything? And that's a friendship. That's a brotherhood. I can call my brother at any point in time, and my brother will be like, hey man, I'm here to listen, what's going on? And that took a while to cultivate.
Yeah.
And that's because somebody had to say it. Hey man, I need help, man.
Yeah.
And that was that communication that was necessary. But the fact is, a lot of us will not make that be known that, hey man, you know, just like they say in the hood, man, I get it out the mud, man. Or I say it in every single song, I get it out the mud. Man, you get it out the mud, but at the same time, somebody gave you something. It didn't matter if you was a drug dealer and somebody gave you your first pound. Or if somebody was literally giving you, you know, a chance to get a better job.
Yeah.
Or giving you a chance to get through that door and try to figure out what's going on.
I think you mentioned it, you know, at the top of the podcast, we talked about how important the brotherhood is and how necessary it is to have someone to lean on, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, I'm glad I did that, get the help, the tools to help me address some of the things as I try to re-enter the world of dating and love and searching for love and stuff like that, man. So, yeah, are you ready for love? I think for me, I had to really look at myself to ask that question. Answer, am I ready for love? Like my issues, like I had to look in the mirror like, y'all, is there, I won't say is there something wrong with me, but like, what do I need to work on? And I think you're right. There's a lot of people who don't like to really get in their own mind or get into, you know, like search themselves, because it's like they just much rather just get the comfort of being in a relationship with all these unresolved issues.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, when you get out of a relationship, you have to rebuild that trust. And it ain't in front of other people and to other people. It's to yourself.
That part.
Do you trust yourself in instances that you failed at? Where are you making the mistakes? And again, that's why I said you have to be accountable for yourself. And if you have, you know, brothers, you know, even your sisters, if they can help hold you accountable, you have to be willing to hold yourself accountable in that same situation. You can't fight everybody with, oh, well, you know, I was wrong, but it's like, stop, take the butts out of it. Just
take that
if
out.
You was wrong with it, apologize and keep moving. And look back at it like it's a John Madden replay. So he messed up over here, Jim. Like that. Look at right there. You can see it on the film. You know what I mean? And your film is how your partner views you. That right there is your film. And yes, it may not be 100% the way you view it. But what? Perception is what? Reality. So if somebody perceives you that way, other people may perceive you that same way. So the same way you care about a business, you have to care about yourself, because you're in your own business.
That part.
You know what I mean?
Listen, that self-work, man, it's helped me into navigating like this space of being single. And so I said earlier, I'm off of the online dating for now. Are you still on the sites?
I've cut down a lot. I'm gonna be honest, and the reason why is because I've refocused back on myself.
Okay.
And I had to. I have like maybe one account in there, and it's like,
I don't go searching now. I don't be
look,
out
hey,
there.
look. If you see me, you see me. And I ain't gonna lie. There ain't no point in lying. You know what I mean? I have like one account, and the thing is, it's because I'm so busy.
Okay.
That I want to see what's out there.
Yeah.
And see who I even connect with or even click with in that same sense. But I've really kind of just faded out of that. And the reason why is just I needed to focus on myself.
That's the big key for me too.
It's not even so much that I care about that, but that's also how you get out there when you don't have time. And you know what I mean? But at the same time, you need to make sure that if you are on social media for that, because let's be honest, you don't have to be on a dating app. You can do it on Instagram. You can do it on TikTok.
Instagram be jumping.
You know, everybody talking about it's going down in the DMs type situation. You know what I mean? It's still, if you don't know yourself, I challenge you to take time to get to know yourself.
And that's one of the biggest lessons for me once I slowed down in the dating scene. Like I got out the little relationship I was in, and I was like, okay, I can get back on the field and get like on the sites and whatever. And I'm like, wait. Because I noticed something from my divorce and then the breakup with the girl I dated post-divorce.
Okay.
There was something that was almost similar. It was a feeling. I was like, yo, I felt the same way when I broke up I said, so it ain't them, it's me.
Exactly. Common denominator. I would say that definition of insanity
I was like, wait a minute, like it's a completely different person.
Right.
And I'm feeling the same way I felt. I was like, okay, it ain't them, it's me. And before I jump into another situation, I need to do some work in me. Like, I need to figure out, okay, why am I choosing this? Like, one of my biggest pet peeves is that I'm noticing now, and it may be my perception, like you said, perception of reality. I'm coming across a lot of strong women.
Right.
But they're not like nurturers. Like, they're not sensitive, they're just strong. They make their money, they about their business, but they not sensitive to have a lot of emotional intelligence, or you know what I'm saying, like they just not sensitive to that because they're so used to being a strong woman. You know, because my mom, I always say a lot of women in my family are strong women, right? But they're also nurturers. Like, they can work a full 8-hour shift and come home and cook dinner, you know what I'm saying? Right. And not complain about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now, I don't come across that often. It's probably out there, but I don't necessarily come across that often. Like, because now you got, you know, let's do DoorDash, let's do Uber Eats. Like, there's not that willingness to prioritize, like, yo, I got to make sure I take care.
But I'm going to be honest, nowadays, and I'm probably going to catch flack from this day and age is more about me than it is we. Yeah. And a relationship will never survive if it's only about me. Like, to be honest, like, my background from what I come from is different. Mm-hmm. My parents have been together for 44 years.
I love that.
And I hate to say it, but in the black community, that's an eternity.
Yeah, facts.
But at the same time, it's a beautiful thing to see and to watch evolve and see where people may fall down and your partner pick you up. And that's what I crave more than anything.
Facts. Same here.
And it's like, you can be strong, but at the same time you're strong, that person can pick you up when you're weak. Yeah. And that's the most beautiful thing that my parents have. I even have friends who tell me nowadays, I want what your parents have.
Listen, man, my parents were married before my mom passed. They were married 32 years. And my dad, like I said, that's all I known. I think that was possibly one of the reasons, like, when things started falling apart in my marriage, the reason why I held on, because I wanted my daughter to still, like, you know, my ex-wife and I both had a 2-parent household. We wanted our daughter to still have a 2-parent household. So I was willing to do the work. But, you know, like I said, I was like, after a while, when you feel, you know, I held on to you can't hold on anymore, and I just had to let go. But I still appreciate that, like, long love. Like, you know, when I hear marriages 50 years and 60 years, that brings joy to my heart, because it's like, yo, that's what I long for. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a rare thing nowadays.
But
man.
To be honest, you also experienced some things that changed it, because thing is, the loss of your mother affected your dad.
True.
And I haven't been through that yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that changes a man. You know what I mean? A good man who loves his wife, it's like losing part of your heart. You've heard of broken heart syndrome.
Like my dad, I recall, man, many a times when my mom passed away, he was just like, there's basically no reason to live. Like, I'm done. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for God to take me at any moment. And I used to kind of, like, you know, I hear my dad say that, but he meant that, like, it was, he wasn't the same. Like, it was 12 years from when my mom passed and then my dad passed away. But I've heard many a times my dad was ready. He was so ready, because, like I say, it's like they had this love that I always appreciated, man. But my dad, you're right, he wasn't the same when my mom passed. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, I love to see those older couples. Like, you can see that old school. They connected. Like,
they connected at the hip.
They connected at the hip.
I'm gonna
be
honest. They're connected at the heart, and that's the main thing.
But it's just so much has changed, man. Like, as much as I feel like I'm ready for love, I just feel like the type of love that I'm ready for is kind of like what I see what my parents had. That old school, like. It's not even ride or die. Like my parents, your parents were pre ride or die.
Yeah.
Like we say ride, I want to ride or die. Nah,
my parents were born in the 60s, man. I tell you right there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, again, remember what I said. It is everybody's infatuated with the me and not the we.
That's big, man.
And like I said, people fall in love with the idea of marriage, but not the work that comes with it.
That's good.
Anytime somebody makes one fault, somebody goes straight to social media, oh, my husband or my wife did this, and it's like, bruh, that is something you keep in your house.
There's no more.
Stop putting people on Front Street like that.
I know my parents, I know many. I look at those marriages that's been around 50, 60 years. I said, they got some stuff that nobody know about. Like, they are tight.
To the grave, man.
To the grave. And I tell you, man, like, I believe in that. But there is a certain level of intimacy and trust, like, that, you know, that between partners, that, and respect. Like, that's the other thing that part of my non-negotiables is like, yo, you gotta have respect. Like, a lot of women, because they may come with financially different things to the table, and you may not make as much as, you know, saying it's almost a lack of respect. Like, there's a few women that can carry that both. They can be a breadwinner or whatever, however you name it, but still have a respect for man. You know what I'm saying? Right. But I haven't really come across that as often as I would like. But one thing I appreciate about the old school, it was like, yo, they had respect for each other.
But the thing is, it was, again, a partnership.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everything has to do with funds.
Yeah.
And if you ain't got a bag, then you ain't got, you know, a bay. That's kind of how it go. If you ain't got a bag, man, you ain't got a bay. And that's the situation.
Cool. That's crazy.
But you got to remember, at the end of the day, it's like this is a partnership.
Yeah.
You are supposed to bring something to the table, even though I know people hate the table conversation.
Yeah.
You're supposed to bring something to the table that your partner doesn't. Yeah. And money has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Because listen, I know in life, I'm 44 years old. Everything has a season. There's a season when you got the money, and there's going to be a season when you ain't got it.
Yep.
Or you hit rock bottom. And I am fully aware about experiencing those extremes where you had it and then you don't have it. And so it should never be contingent upon those conditions of you. Like, I may meet a chick when I'm like balling.
Yeah. Then
there's going to be a season when I'm not quite so balling. And if she only met me and fell in love with me because I was balling, you know what I'm saying? But what you're sharing, a lot of relationships are based on those conditions. Like, I met him when he was balling, and then when he ain't balling, they like ghost.
Again, you remember like this. Our parents grew up in an era where you had to work together, and it wasn't a choice. It was, you had to. You saw grandma do it, you saw daddy do it, and mama do it, and guess what? You gonna do that, because those build those strong bonds that you see right now. It's not if somebody falters, it's how you pick that person up. Man. And that's the thing that most people really don't care to hear anymore. It's like, well, I got a bag. That's cool, but at the end of the day, when the money can be great, but you're still by yourself.
We talked about money doesn't equal fulfillment. Like, you know, there's a lot of rich couples, successful couples that you're surprised when they announce a divorce. I'm like, but y'all got the big mansion, y'all got all the kids.
You can be alone in your own relationship.
I know that.
And again,
for sure.
It works both ways. I keep saying that because at the end of the day, it is a disclaimer. Yeah. It is the truth, though. So many people get caught up in the hype of the social media and this stuff is not real. Yeah. It is not real. Yeah, it's not real. Because you see somebody balling and flossing all on Instagram and TikTok and stuff like that. That does not mean that they're doing that all the time. Do you know how many times people go on vacation and take 1,000,001 pictures and bleed them same pictures out for years? Oh yeah, I'm in Bali. Hey, I'm over here in that United Emirates, and I'm doing all this other stuff. And it's like, fam, how long are you out there?
Like,
that ain't even real, bro. When do you work?
That part.
And that's the situation, is that everybody falls in love with the dream of being able to run left and right. But at the same time, if you are not solid with your partner, you're going to be running left and right by yourself.
Listen, man. And so that right there, being solid with your partner, like for me, as I enter into seasons, like I want to be ready for love. Like, what in a partner you're looking for? You know what I'm saying? Like, not just the looks. Yeah, she's fine. She, you know what I'm saying? She got, but it's like there are other qualities that I am really asking myself, like, yo, who, like, yeah, they can be bad. Like, you know what I'm saying? Instagram model type chick. But if she don't have there's simple things that, you know what I'm saying, that you look for to have in a partner. And that's what, in addition to like searching within myself, is like, what are my non-negotiables? What are certain things that I look for in a partner, like, you know what I'm saying, that will benefit me in the long term, or benefit us? I hate to say you, because you just exposed that to me.
It's
that will
we,
benefit,
not me.
Yeah, will benefit us. And so that's what I started doing some searching, because again, when I coming out of divorce and then coming out of a relationship, and I felt the same way, I was like, oh crap, it ain't them, it's me. And I gotta start. And so when I started digging deep and asking those uncomfortable questions about myself, to know, like, I don't want to repeat the cycle of choosing the same type of women or feeling the same way coming out of relationships or whatever, I started doing that inner work and noticing, like, okay, what I look for a partner, what am I gonna bring in? Like, what are certain deficiencies that I carry? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like insecurities or whatever. I start dealing with that. Like, one of my biggest insecurities was like, yeah, I know I'm gonna be highly successful. I'm a very highly successful person, but yeah, I'm seeing a lot, especially in Dallas. There's a lot of women out here making dough. Like, they're making crazy dough. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not against what we do, but there are women out there, they killing it. And it's an insecurity for me sometimes if I come across a woman who makes more money than me.
So why does it bother you that a woman makes more money than you?
Well, I mean, I think, growing up the way I was raised, like my parents, we were poor. You know, my parents are immigrants. And so I didn't grow up with a silver spoon, or, you know what I'm saying? And so I think coming across a woman who makes more money, it's just a little intimidating for me. And I think that's something I have been working through. Even if I'm making more money or making good money, I think sometimes seeing, having that, especially, I'll say this, it depends how they carry it.
Right, okay. I can understand that.
That could be triggering. Like, if they carry it in a way that's like almost emasculating. Yeah. Okay.
Now that right there, that's gonna hit you in, your heart and make you feel that you're less than.
Yeah, and that's I think that was the trigger for me.
But that's the difference between having a partner and having somebody who's not a partner or even evenly yoked with you.
That's good.
Because again, money should not dictate how you love somebody.
True. And so I think confronting those issues, and I'm able to clearly share what the issues are for me, and moving forward is giving me a lot more freedom in moving forward and choosing, who I wouldn't be with or date, or, saying like who I would consider. But I'm honest with myself. I think that's one of the biggest things for me. I was like, yo, some things that I used to ignore or just kind of just sweep under the rug, I'm honest about it now, especially with that money thing. That was something that I would never admit before. But now I have to be honest, like, a woman who carries that, they make more money than you, like a badge of honor or like a way to emasculate a man, I can't bang with that. Like,
but at the same time, that's somebody who is been hurt, more than likely in a situation where money was involved. So they use that as, somebody used it as power over them, or that their perception only is money is everything. Yeah. And if you really want to be biblical about it, again, is money is the root of all evil. Really, the love of money is the root of all evil. Let's be honest. So at the same time, like, my dad and my mom would go back and forth on who makes more money, as far as like my dad get a raise at work, and then my mom get a raise at work. So it was more of like, wherever my dad may have lacked, my dad will pick up. Wherever my mom may lack,
that's a partnership.
It picks up. But I think that's a partnership. And again, this is during the times where things weren't as expensive.
Yeah, now
and that's the reason why, like, a lot of people don't really understand is the fact that back when our parents, like, you know, our dads pretty much ran the house because they were working all the time and making the money. But now both parents have to work right now because things are not getting any cheaper. When eggs hit $8, $9, $10,
they said Dallas is probably the highest place where inflation, like, it's crazy, and I've experienced that, like, you know, like that inflation is inflating.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm looking at even just basic groceries, man.
It's expensive.
Like, there was one guy who literally popped up a bill that he had, like, from pre-COVID, and it was $110 for all this food, right? He reordered that same cart. It was $430. So at the same time, it's like the money doesn't go as far as you think it does. And that's the thing, is like, if you're focused on all financial, when you have a partnership, y'all put it in the same bucket so that y'all can grow and actually buy more and hopefully grow your business and grow a household, so that y'all are growing together instead of, oh, well, just because I make more money than you now, I'm better than you. That doesn't make you better.
I dictate where things go and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And so, I think for me, as I continue to build and grow with work through those deficiencies and insecurities, like, it gives me a little bit more like more confidence in moving forward in my life. Because again, like, post divorce, you know, it's been quite an adventure. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, the ups and downs of it all. And so I'm kind of coasting. So I'm being patient with myself. I'm not rushing myself, but I am honest. It's like, I'm not really built for the streets. I think I'm more of a stability guy. Like, I love love, but I'm not going to rush into it or compromise to it.
I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of guys who are built for that stability. And it's the fact that, you know, prior traumas have caused them to do what they do. And traumas that they've seen from childhood and not healed from. You ever heard that saying that if you don't heal from your past traumas, you'll bleed over everybody that you touch? So, because those wounds are so deep. So if you don't have a chance to grow and heal from that, it's going to be harder to grow to the person that you need to be. But you also have to have a partner who's willing to understand that, just like you understand their growth and their traumas and things like that. And the more that we get down to the nitty and the gritty between men and women, and showing, you know, how we show love, like men choose respect over love, because that's how we see love, is respect. Once we get there, the communication will get so much better. But there has to stop, and I'm going to say this right now, there has to stop being this war between men and women. It's tiring. We both need each other. We've got to stop acting like one is better than the other. One is going to be stronger in one suit, and the other is going to be stronger in the other suit. Again, I was raised with my parents still being partners, and they need each other. And that's when times got hard. Guess what? They were able to hold each other up and keep going forward, and being able to now be retired at an earlier age than what they expected. But the thing is, you know what? They do stuff together, but that is their friendship also speaking. And remember this: are you ready for love? But at the same time, love is not enough.
Yay!
Love is not enough.
That's the clincher there. Because some of us, when we were younger, we kind of infatuated, like, yo, I'm in love, and that kind of trumped everything. It's like, it takes more. I know for sure, as much as love was a play in marriage, that wasn't enough to keep it.
But you know what we saw as kids, and this will age me some. VHS tapes of Disney.
Wow.
Because everything was circled around love conquers all, but nobody really wanted to see what it took to get there. But if you really paid attention, you could watch your grandparents. You could watch your parents, if that's the kind of household that you came from, or you knew somebody in the church who was like that, or you knew some friends' parents who were like that. You could see it, but it was the work that they have to put in. Everybody's afraid to put in the work.
Listen, man,
and everybody again is gonna be loyal or gonna love you to a fault. If you are going in with the intentions of backing out, you are not ready for love.
Nah, that's good. That's good. That's great. That's a great nugget, man. Like, people are only looking at the glitz and glamour and not realizing that you need to pick up a hammer and you got to get to working.
Trying to tell you, Rome wasn't built in a day,
Listen,
right? And it wasn't built by one person.
Yep. And it takes a village. It takes community. It takes connection. It takes a lot. Consistency, communication, all that to build a partnership and to build a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, and all that. The whole basis of it all. And so, yeah, like I am thankful that I did the necessarily digging. Like, yo, am I really ready for love? And I do feel like I'll be ready. Right now, I still got a little bit of work to do.
Yeah, we all do.
But you'd be surprised you find the right partner who will work with you.
I'm trying to tell you. And the thing is, again, if you refuse to heal from your past traumas, you will continue to bleed over anybody that you touch. And again, you're not the only one. Mm-hmm. I still got things that I have to work on. And I know that I have to work on before I'm really, truly ready to love as deep as I want to love.
That's it, man.
And it also takes a bit of fearlessness at the same time.
I said it's people's like, yo, it's a risk. It's a risk, and it takes a certain level of fearlessness. Like, for me, I want to be married again. I want to do that stuff, but it's not going to be a sure shot. Like, yo, I'm gonna have a clear path. It's going to be a risk, and it's going to take a certain level of fearlessness. Especially going through what I've gone through, it creates a little fear and hesitancy. But I feel like as I continue to do the inner work, that fearlessness is rising up again, where like, yo, I'm gonna go headstrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna go for what I want. But you're right. Fearlessness is so key into moving forward and dealing with it, because sometimes we think it's a clear shot, like it's gonna be a clear path to love or stuff like that. No, it's gonna take a certain level of fearlessness and boldness and just taking that risk. It's a chance, man, because you just don't know how it's going to turn out. But if you have the right tools, the right people around you, to kind of knock sense into you, and just build that, man. I think, man, you'll be ready in no time. And so, I think this was a great conversation, man, to talk about, it started us with almost making it onto a show, a dating show.
Yeah.
But like to have the conversation like about, are we ready for love, man? And I think it even touched in about even people who are already in the marriages, and I don't even want to get into that, but like some of them are dealing with loveless marriages, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they kind of fell out of love or felt disconnected.
They sticking it together for the kids.
Yeah.
And they don't.
It
goes a whole different way.
But like, gotta really reconnect with yourself and really address those things, like, because sometimes I think we go into relationships with the wrong intentions. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's somewhat right, but it's still wrong, because it's like we hoping that they will correct our wrongs. Being with them will correct. It's like, nah, you gotta do the inner work, and you gotta really ask yourself those tough questions, and you really gotta deal with what's the root of your happiness? Like, is it going to be money? Is it going to be a relationship? Like, deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like that stuff comes and goes. Like, one thing that remains the same is what you have within you. And so I'm learning that as like, yo, relationship or not, I'm going to be a happy person. Money or not, I'm going to be a happy person. Job or not, I'm going to, like, I had to really work, and I'm still working on that. But I realized there's a breakthrough in that. So when I walk into the next job, next relationship, next situation, like, I'm going to be so fortified within myself and confident, like everything else is just an enhancement.
Yeah. And that's what it's something to build upon.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you always have to have something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are step by step. And I think a lot of people look too far to the end of it and what the finished product looks like, but not, again, worried about what the steps to get there are. And that's how you have to rebuild and start again when you're looking at a new relationship. Don't go in there with the pretenses that this person is going to be like your ex, but also be smart enough to understand if everything keeps happening the same way, you are the problem.
The common denominator.
The common denominator.
Listen, and I'm thankful for that revelation, man. And so, like, I really appreciate, like, having this conversation. I think hopefully it'll help someone who's listening and watching. Like, yo, like, why I keep making the same mistake, you know? And you know, we can't necessarily speak on behalf of the females, but there's a lot of stuff you can apply from a female for the female perspective. But, you know, from a male perspective, you know, us being conditioned to be like really like soldiers, you know what I'm saying? Like, we just, you know, we can't share emotion. And I should had that episode about being emotional, but, like, you know, I don't see it wrong being emotional, like, as a man. And I think once we correct that, there's such a deliverance of freedom in just being able to be expressive in your emotions, and so not afraid to hold it in, and then reach out to someone for some help. Reach out to a brother to ask for help, like me asking him to join this podcast, knowing like, yeah, I'm good, I can do it by myself, but I can do better with having, you know, saying help. And it takes things to the next level, man. And so having the willingness to reach out and ask for help, or ask for what you call it, alley oop, you know, like, you know, it's like
give and go.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Ball.
Like, you can't do it by yourself sometimes, even, you know. So it's like it's so key in this journey, man. And so as we close and get ready to end this first episode together, me and Tank. First, again, thank you again for joining in this journey with us at Battle Wounds Podcast Season 6. Welcome you to the journey, bro.
You know, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
And I just really want people to understand, like, what we do in here right now is to help bless the masses. You know what I mean? Some of the things, again, that we're going to tackle may be a little sensitive with certain folks. And it's no disrespect. It's all love here.
Yeah, it's all love.
So, you know what I mean? The same way you check me, I'm going to check you.
Yeah.
And that's the same way. And I expect everybody, you know, to come over here respectful and everything like that. So no matter what it is or who we bring on the podcast, we always going to err on the sense of respect. That's what it is. Yeah. Respect is love.
Yep. That's it, man. And so, y'all, thank y'all so much tuning in to this first episode of Season 6 here on Battle Wounds Podcast. I'm your host, Amos, and this is Tank.
Your boy Tank.
Listen. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like, share, comment. Let us know how you feel, what you think. And listen, we might go live on Instagram and connect with y'all between episodes, just to kind of keep this thing going, because we want to know how you feel. And, you know, it'll have some live interaction and conversation. So stay tuned for that. Please follow us on all our social platforms, and be sure to just tune in next week as we continue on Season 6 of Battle Wounds Podcast, man. I really say again, health is wealth. And like I say, he could attest to it. Health is
wealth.
All right, until next time, y'all have a good one. See ya.
Y'all be blessed.